Um, Welcome everybody. How are you doing today? It's so very nice to have you here. And today I wanted to speak a little bit about our upcoming day-long intensive on the 11th of February. Gone beyond the mind to awakening, strengthening our resolve for freedom. And this event is really created for all our returning students. However, because this is the only event in February, we are opening to everybody else. Everybody is welcomed to join us. So powerful, strengthening our resolve for freedom. And gone beyond the mind to awakening. So much of the time we have different ideas about awakening, ideas, thoughts about freedom, awakening. Is it possible? Is it for me? Is it something that I deserve? Oftentimes the mind takes over our true desire for truth and awakening, our true search, and the mind begins to give us, thoughts and ideas about how it is going to happen and when it is going to happen and how it is going to be in the future when that happens. And so we want to sort through all of that, because there's a delicate balance between really following the desire for truth, which again, to be very practical in a moment means give your attention. Give your attention to our true nature right now. Don't believe anything for freedom. Remember, we used to do these programs, don't believe anything for freedom. Don't let your attention go into the past or into the future. Even the promise of awakening, right? In the future, that takes our attention from being here right now. So give ourselves to truth. Give, delicate balance between really following the desire for truth, which means giving our attention to truth right now in this very moment. Not losing that momentum that calls us, that pulls us towards sitting in satsang, towards inquiry, towards being here, towards discrimination, seeing the difference between past and present, or thoughts and mind and our true nature. And being able to discern between that and the thoughts, ideas, imaginations that we have about spiritual awakening, about freedom, about what is it going to look like, about how this is going to happen in the future. Because that, movement into the future, it really takes our attention away from what is. And away from our true nature, away from knowing it. I was sharing in a description for this day long how even after awakening, and obviously we have spoken many times, past does not stop arising after awakening. Even after awakening, there still is the temptation for something, there may be the temptation for something, for more, for something, different, right? How we need to remain vigilant before, during, and after awakening. It's very powerful when we realize that, and also very powerful to realize that, we spoke about this many times before, that it really takes the innocence of heart, the innocence, right? which means the willingness to really give yourself to it in this moment, not expecting anything. You know, we don't want to come to the beloved with expectation. We don't want to come with, demand. I want this and I want that, and this is how I want it, and this is how I want it to happen. We come with innocent heart, with innocence in your heart. You know, I often said love truth for truth alone, not for any reason, right? Come here to be here. You know, not because we're going to get anything. And yes, we get more than we can even imagine, right? But we come here not because we get anything, but because we really want to be here. So we are going to be speaking about this and a lot more in this time together, and just sitting, strengthening that resolve, you know, to be here no matter what arises. And there's also, you know, something that Papaji used to say, which often can get so misinterpreted, you know, truth exalts a holy person. And so often, you know, the ego mind likes to, you know, grasp into those concepts like holy person. What is a holy person? And then again, we have the imagination, you know, of what it means, you know, of what it means. The behavior, the clothes, the food, the whatever the imagination is. You know, the ego loves to grasp onto things like that, like, for example, being humble, right? The truth exalts a holy person. You know, and that holiness is in your heart, in the way you are, in the way you really give yourself to it, in the way you really value it. You really value it more than anything else. You know, very, very powerful, right? And we can speak more about this when we get together, you know, powerful this. The holiness is in that complete and absolute surrender, trust and surrender. So I'm very much looking forward to our time together. I want to invite you all to join me. And also, if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe, please share, please comment. It really helps us to make this more visible, more accessible. And I'm very much looking forward to our time together.